Hi, so I'm going to be going over some classroom management models. There are many different kinds of theories and models that, as a teacher, you can use to manage a classroom. I'll be going over a few and to demonstrate an understanding of them and how what I feel is the better models of what probably you shouldn't use in some situations and so on. So, the first model is some of these words are kind of hard to say, the Conan model. It is witnessing, alerting, and group management model. So basically, it's you sit down and you discuss with the group. People telling, "Hey, you shouldn't do this." You manage it in a group situation. The Redl and Wattenberg model is focused mainly on how to deal with groups of students in classrooms. So oftentimes in classroom management situations, you'll have group projects or along those lines, and you need to know how to deal with them. Well, the Redl Wattenberg model deals with this. Another model is the Gnot model. Um, the Gnot model is addressed by the situation by giving sane messages. In other words, encouragement. So when you have a student, for instance, that is acting up in the classroom, instead of um, punishing the student necessarily, you encourage, or even if it's to maintain class order, you continually encourage the student saying, "Hey, good job, keep up the good work, guys." And this positive reinforcement can promotes their continuing good behavior. So hopefully, just saying, "Hey, keep going, good job," they'll want to keep doing a good job. You want to know that you are happy, and that encourages them. And if they're doing a good job, that also encourages them and keeps them well behaved. Um, the next model is the Neo-Skinnerian model. This model looked at how we can shape desired behaviors in students. So how do we control behavior? So behaviorism was a very popular methodology, especially back in the 60s. And this kind of model used tricks to basically um, get students to be good. How do we control how students behaving? Um, doesn't really model so much on how much they're learning. The Jones model is similar in that it um, shapes behavior by the importance of body language, the incentive systems, and providing efficient help. In other words, it's a popular classroom, at least in elementary schools, is that the students will candy. Candy is a wonderful incentive. I've been told. Um, Rewards for doing well, or um, other things such as taking away points for recess, and those kinds of methods are what the Jones model says. This is fairly used in elementary schools, probably a lot more than in high schools. But the incentive systems work with little kids, especially. Hey, if you do a good job, this is what you'll get, and that will encourage them to do better. The next model is the Dreekers model, focused on confronting students' mistakes, goals, and reactions. So, mistaken goals and reactions. So, as a teacher, a student reacts a certain kind of way. Well, how should we uh, confront that student? And so this is high school prevalent, and uh, I like this kind of model a little bit more than the rest in that you have to kind of enlighten someone, especially in high school, about what are they trying to achieve by acting up, or um, what the entire class is working on. Why are they acting up this way? Shouldn't their goal be different? Shouldn't they have a goal to want to succeed and show them how that this is a mistaken goal? And I think that's an important thing. You want to get them to try to reflect on their own methods and how they are acting. Hopefully, then that will better manage their system, the class. Two more. There's the Glasser model. Demonstrated The Glasser model demonstrated that good behavior comes from good choices and meeting needs. So, good choices and meeting needs is a big one. So, what does he mean by good choices? Well, the good choices are choices that you make every day. So, what um, if the students are doing their work, making good choices, effective choices on their work, they will be good. This comes from the teacher as well. If the teacher is making good choices about the classroom, then students will have better. It's less kind of good. Um, then students' behavior will probably be much better. Secondly, is meeting needs. So you need to meet the needs of the student. Um, this can be difficult at times, especially in large classrooms. Um, However, if the students' needs are being met, then it is very likely that they will then not be acting on classroom management. What happens in a classroom, from what I've observed in my own classes, is that if they are not, if they don't know what they're doing, or they need help, or they're bored, or something along the line, then what's going to happen is they're going to start acting up. If you're there helping them, meeting what they need for the lesson or whatever, then they're less likely to pick up. Lastly, there's a Cantor model. This promoted the idea of assertively taking charge, and this is kind of uh, a very manly way of taking control of the class, right? Taking control, being very assertive. This is kind of being very direct with the students, being very assertive. So if I say I had, this is something I would endorse too, especially since it does seem to work. I've had seventh grade teacher of mine was very, very assertive, very deep voice, very kind of almost intimidating, but in some sense you respect, and that's kind of the big thing. If you're assertive, students will respect you, and then you'll have good classroom management, student behavior, and that's something also endorse heavily. It's being assertive and then confronting them. Because if you're assertive and you're confronting, then they'll respect you. If they respect you, you shouldn't have much problem with classroom. Um, you generally want to keep classrooms calm. There's a couple of different strategies, management strategies for this. If you're having a calm classroom, I have five here that are particularly good. First of all, you want to keep the lesson moving. If you have a 45-minute period, plan three different activities, and it just depends on the student level. So obviously, the older you get, the longer your lesson plans can be because they can sit there and focus for long. But if you have little kids, then it's shorter. So strategize how long your lesson plans will be. Don't lecture for the whole period until you get to college, where there's just pretty much lecture for 50 minutes at a time. If you're not, students aren't actually engaged, especially when they're younger. High school seniors and juniors don't have so much of a problem. But if you can get them engaged, not only will they learn more, but the classroom will be much calmer and better. Number three, talk to your students, interact with them. Because if you're not interacting with them, this is a big thing. If you're not talking to them, then you have this isolation between you two, and this kind of goes back to the respect. They don't respect you, and I think that if you're interacting and you're with your students a lot, talking to them in the hallways and so on, then they'll respect you and they'll be much well behaved when you confront them in class, or hopefully you won't have to. Another strategy, number two, is that stand by the student. Generally, just in terms of intimidation, a student won't be talking if you're standing next to them. That kind of authority is good to have. Lastly, If they're still being disruptive, talk to them, right? Don't be confrontational with it. Don't say what's going on. Ask them if they're okay. What's going on? Why are you being like this? And generally they'll give you probably a legitimate reason. If not, then they'll be put on the spot and they'll realize they should be this problem regardless. So you need to keep it positive. And that's a big thing. And I kind of endorse the assertive confrontational stuff, but then the assertivity and the confrontation needs to be positive. So you can't be negative, because then that just dwells on more negative, and that does not help the situation. It doesn't help the student, and it's not good for classroom environment. So 10 good steps here for classroom management, right? Get to know student is number one. Spend time with the student individually. Talk to them. Don't, I was in class and didn't really talk to my teachers much. It's kind of hard when you have a lot of students. But, the more you talk to them, especially the disruptive ones, the more easier, the more respect you'll have. Fill your classroom with positivity, quotes, stuff like that. Even the posters, the visual aspects are important, because if you don't have those, then the classroom can be really boring. But having the positive things it's psychologically, even if you're not thinking about it, psychologically helps. Always be positive. Give them positive feedback. When they do something good, tell them that they do something good. It's part of this positive learning environment, and that's a good classroom management strategy. Give them outlets for expression. Don't lecture. Give them positive do art projects or have debates, or give them the students a chance to talk, because if you're just talking, it's really boring. Conduct a daily community meeting with students. I don't know about this one. Sounds like a cool thing, but practicality that I'm not so sure of. Allow students to make appointments with you to talk privately about overwhelming problems, issues, and dilemmas. So basically, have office hours or times when they can come in and talk to you, be available to your students. Give them expectations. Students respond to expectations. You make it well known you have certain expectations. Students in general will rise to those expectations. So have conduct expectations. Say, hey, I expect you guys to behave this way. This is how you should behave. Make discipline about accountability and growth instead of punishment. So give students who exhibit inappropriate behavior a place to cool off and calm down. Have them reflect about the unacceptable behavior they engage in. Discuss other ways they could have handled the situation. Commit to taking action and steps to ensure that it will not happen again. That seems a little bit idealistic. Sometimes you need the accountability is the big thing. Punishment in what sense? And this is kind of where I kind of get off the bandwagon a little bit. You can't just give idle threats. They need to respect you, and sometimes that means following through. And then, if you make a demonstration of one student, the rest will generally follow through. It's kind of old timey, but it works. You need to know that there's expectations and they're accountable for those expectations. But if you don't follow through with their accountability, then there's going to be a problem. You need to follow through on some kind of punishment. It doesn't need to be necessarily super negative, but it needs to be a punishment that reinforces growth. Make the classroom pleasurable. Just make it nice, and make it fun. Students will respond even if they don't realize it to that fun. So, if you want to speak, here's some scenarios that you could use in case there are issues, right? So what if you want to speak and the class isn't being quiet, right? This is where generally you'll have some kind of idle threat going on, right? If you're elementary school, recess. If you're in high school, homework or tests is a great way. Let's have points on the board and say, if you lose all your points, you'll get tests. And so once they start seeing that they're going to get a test soon, then they'll generally respond to that. When someone breaks school policy, right? Well, as a teacher, you must deal with that. You send them to the principals, you deal with it, you talk to them about it, something like that. Another big one is probably the assertivity that you need to take, right? If someone tries to make you change your issues, and sometimes they'll leave that student that challenges you, tries to get you to change. Well, that is a move on, that's a power move right there. That will move on as directly trying to attack your authority as a teacher. Even if that student might have a point, what you do is you don't back down, because as soon as they get the upper hand on you, that's bad, and you lose all respect in the classroom. You have to be assertive. You have to stick to your guns. Those are kinds of things that scenarios, classroom management scenarios. So be assertive. In my opinion, there's lots of different. Be assertive, and make sure they respect you. And so I hope this kind of demonstrates some understanding of different kind of classroom models, especially the model that I think works the best. And I hope you learn something.